Welcome aboard to the 2023 Toyota Sienna XLE Hybrid with all-wheel drive. Let me show you guys around. For around $50,000, you get a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine with a hybrid system with a combined net output of 245 horsepower, mated to a CVT. Now, of course, this also has the optional all-wheel drive and 7-passenger seating. This vehicle is different in particular because this one has 18,000 miles on it, but it's a 2023, so it's lightly used. But this dealership is retailing it for about $50,000, which is about what they're going for new. Let's begin with this very clean exterior. I love how simple this front end is. We have kind of like a fake grille going on in here between the full LED headlights and turn signals. I love the little LED profile there. I love the blue Toyota badge because it's a hybrid. Down here we have your main grille. I really like how they split it up on the front here, and we even have little fog lights on the front. Now, working our way down the side of this very nice Toyota Sienna, you can see immediately that we have door-mounted mirrors for extra aerodynamics. I love that they put that on a minivan. Definitely not super common. I also really like these wheels. Even though they're really small, they're really, really nice. I like the profile. They're nice and clean. They're not over the top, and they give you plenty of rubber, making this an extremely smooth ride. Now, the side profile has a couple of added bits on, like these little plastic side skirts. I kind of like that to give it a little more interesting appeal. But I like all the regular body lines that it has too. I like how this one starts at the top and works its way toward the bottom. I also like that little flare on the bottom, and the side skirt even has a little character line too. The fuel door is kind of cool because it has like a bunch of different sides to it, and that works its way around to this rear window. I love minivans and their window profiles, and I really like how it tapers down, giving it more of a Highlander reminiscent look, making it almost look less like a minivan. Now, over here on the back, I really like these taillights. They're super cool looking. I like this little fake bit they added on the bottom here too to give it a little more of an interesting accent. There's not anything going on behind here, but it looks kind of cool anyways. We have LED taillights and halogen turn signals with halogen reverse lights. Back here we have a very clean back end too, with not much of a rear bumper even. You can see that the most protruding bit is actually the trunk, so if you were to get rear-ended, you might have to replace your entire lift gate. That's a bit of a concern, but we do have some nice black plastic body cladding where our sensors are. I also really like that this is the all-wheel drive version as well, giving you a little bit more traction, especially in snowy situations. We have our hybrid badge there, and one thing I really like about this back end, not just the Sienna badge, but I also like how if you wave your foot underneath the back end of the car, we have a powered lift gate giving you lots of room for accessibility and putting away your grocery bags and whatever you may need. And of course, you can press the button to close it as well, which will yield us access to the interior of our Toyota Sienna, where we have this lovely heated steering wheel with lots of steering wheel controls, a nice horn. We have all of your cruise controls right here, your radio controls right here. This changes your input. Your volume controls are over here, and these control the center screen. Now, this center screen allows you to see lots of different information, such as your speedometer, fuel economy, cruise control, audio information, your drivetrain systems and tire pressure, your settings for all of your safety systems, and various warning messages. On the left here, we have more like a chargeometer instead of a tachometer, but it does work very much the same. When you're close to red line, it'll get to right about right there. You have your temp gauge right there. Over here, you have a regular analog speedometer, which I love to see on a new car. And we also have a fuel gauge there as well. The steering wheel has various turn signal adjustments. Your fog lights are here. Headlights are right here. We also have your regular wiper controls. And of course, we have the rear wiper back there too. The steering wheel is also fully tilt and telescoping with lots of range of motion, which is fantastic. So you can get really comfortable in your Sienna. Down here, we have some other controls. We have your traction control off, automatic high beams, power inverter, enable and disable. This allows you to adjust your gauge cluster lighting. This resets your odometer. Down here, obviously, as per usual, you have your fuel dual door opener, and this is a very interesting one. When you turn this on, it disables the power doors from being able to be enabled in the back, which is important, especially if you have children, since we have power sliding doors in this minivan. I also really like this little shelf here. It's a perfect place to put a small item like your keys or your phone, especially since we have keyless. Over here, I really like Toyota's hybrid start buttons. I like how it says power. It's a really nice way of knowing whether or not your vehicle is off. We're in EV mode right now, and you can't hear the engine running, but this indicates that the vehicle is fully on, and I really like that, especially when other electric cars make it extremely vague. I also really like your hazard light. I love how it's in the shape of a triangle. It's got a really nice premium feel to it. Over here, this is where the interior starts to get a little bit crazy. We have this shelf that goes all the way to the end here, making it a perfect place to put stuff such as your sunglasses or your phone, because we do have a wireless charger, which can be enabled with that switch right there. We also have a USB-A port perfectly located for your wired-only Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. No wireless just yet, since this is a 23, but we have this nice head unit. It is Toyota's older style, but it's incredibly easy to use, and it even has navigation and Sirius XM. That part I really appreciate. Working our way down, we have fully physical climate controls. They're incredibly easy to use. Fan speeds right there. It's a little bit difficult to jump from low to high. It just takes a little bit of time, but not impossible, and you can do it without looking, which is extremely important. That turns the system back off. We also have heated seats at this price point. No ventilated, unfortunately, as this is about $50,000, but not terrible once again. We also have your windshield defogger right there. Automatically sets it to 68, which is fantastic. It puts the automatic mode on, but we can turn that off. That enables and disables your AC, recirc, all the normal climate controls, and that's your S mode. So basically this sends AC to only the seats that are being currently occupied, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the whole economy aspect of this, since we are in a hybrid here. Down here, we have the first of many cup holders. As you can see, it's got teeth that perfectly hold my cup in place. Even though it only has 2 teeth, it still works perfectly. And same with this one too. We also have a nice little place to put your phone. We have another nice little place to put your phone. And if I flip this door open, we have even more cup holders. But you can see these are only really meant for like Starbucks coffee cups, which is honestly perfectly fine if you're going on a road trip. But I do wish these were a little bit bigger, since these are closer to the driver. Over here, you have all of your drive controls all in this one little square. You have your controller for your CVT transmission with a sport mode and manual shift modes, which is interesting since this is a CVT. Over here, you have your park brake, you have your park brake hold. This enables and disables your EV mode, so you can drive in pure EV mode if you want, instead of using the 4-cylinder. This activates your various drive modes. You can switch between sport, normal, and eco if you want. I really like sport mode because it actually makes the steering feel a little bit tighter, and this almost drives like a small car, which is incredible. I'll get into that later though. Over here, we have this really cool center console. If I press this button, it flips open like that. It's a slow rise effect, and I absolutely love it. We have a ton of space down here with this little felt liner pad right there. There you go. It's nice and aligned now. We have a USB-C port and a USB-A port, and I love how they're illuminated, even though we're in broad daylight. I also really like these padded armrests, which are fixed, and so they're always going to be here for you to put your elbow there and put your arm right here. Absolutely fantastic. These seats I also really like. I love the tan. I believe this is Softex leather interior, but it looks absolutely fantastic. I've always been a big fan of the white on beige look in cars, especially on family cars. Now, for the rest of the interior, we have this upper control panel. This controls your sliding doors. This is for your lift gate. This slides your sunroof open, and this tilts it. We also have nice little convenience lights over here. They're nice and warm, and I really like that. Over here, we have a little conversation mirror, but that's about all it does. There's no cabin talk. There's no sunglass holder. I do really wish we had something like cabin talk that we have in the Honda Odyssey. Over here, you have your typical HomeLink mirror, and there I am. Over here is your sun visor with little convenience lights. Again, I love that they're warm and not the bright white LEDs that every other car has. And these are fully extendable. Working our way up, we have the sunroof. I do wish it was panoramic, considering we have a black headliner in here, but I absolutely love the way the tan interior looks on the black headliner. Down here, we have a fully lockable glove box with tons of space and plenty of room for your user manual, plus a little shelf right here too. To show you the rest of the interior, I have to actually get out to show you, because there's so much more going on. Let's go ahead and keep the vehicle on for a second, shall we? Working our way down here, we have another 12-volt socket chilling out down here, and we have a giant amount of room down here. You could hide stuff down here even though it's in plain sight. So you could like put like a case of LaCroix down here if you want. You could put your grocery bags there. That's really fantastic. I also really like how these seats are powered with lumbar support. I especially enjoy how there's a floor-mounted pedal. That's something you don't see on many minivans at all. Down here on the door panel, we have a lot going on. Just a tier beneath the armrest section, we have a little bit of storage. You can put your phone here, whatever you may need. And there's even a bottle pocket down here. You can store a couple bottles and whatever you could fit in here. So the front seat is incredibly advanced with a lot of stuff going on up here. But I think the back seat is really where this Toyota Sienna shines. So let me show you the back seat of the Toyota Sienna, where we have these power sliding doors that can be foot activated. And back here we have a ton of space. Let's start with these sunshades, which can be easily activated by just pulling up on this. Let's go ahead and let in a little bit more light there, but we have the same light interior back here with these beautiful seats. Love the comfort of them. Let's go ahead and sit back and check out the rear legroom. We have door pockets in both seats, which is awesome to see. But with this seat in my default driving position and this seat all the way forward, I have plenty of legroom and I have quite a bit of headroom as well. But the seats get even crazier, as I'll show you in a minute. But let's take a look at the interior amenities. We have yet another USB-A and USB-C port. We have yet another household power outlet back here. We have another one in the trunk, which I'll show you later. We have two more cup holders. Let's see if those fit my cup. Check that out real quick. You can see it fits perfectly. I'll leave that right there for right now. But on the door panel, we have a lot of stuff going on. They have to keep the door panel relatively flat since it's a sliding door, so it's quite impressive that they put quite a bit of stuff on here. We have your handle to open and close your sliding door. We also have power windows back here as well, which just a few years ago wasn't a thing on sliding doors. And we even have a bottle pocket down here too. This is your button to open and close the door if you want. So if you want to use the power sliding doors instead, you can do that too. We also have two tiers of grab handles because Toyota knows that both short and tall people are gonna be using this vehicle. These seats also have fully flip downable armrests, as do most minivans. And of course we have some on this side as well. On these seats too, we also have more bottle pockets, as if having ones on the door wasn't enough. You could also put a phone in here too, since it's kind of like a net shape. I really like the way they did that. We also have our own convenience lights back here, our own air vents, and our own grab handles. Plus, we have our own climate controls to control the back zone. Let's go ahead and turn on the fan. And as you can see, we can even have two different zones just for the back seat, giving in total 4 different zones for your Toyota Sienna. So with that in mind, let's go back to the trunk area where we have tons of space. But again, we're not done with the second row just yet. Notice how these tracks go all the way to your third row. If you use this little slider lever hidden right down here, you can actually slide these seats pretty far back, but they can actually go all the way to your third row area, giving you cavernous legroom, almost like a limousine. Let me hop in the back and show you guys just how much legroom you can get in the Sienna with the third row fully folded down. So not only can you slide the seats with the third row fully in, but you can fold the third row and basically make this a 4-seater limousine. Plus, we can recline these seats too by using this little lever. And as you can see, I can almost lay entirely flat in the back of this Toyota Sienna, again, making it a limousine for a price that is significantly less than something that offers this much legroom, such as a BMW 7 Series. But yes, I get it. We can't always have the Toyota Sienna in limousine mode. So what we can do is we can fold the seat forward, giving us access to the third row. If we simply just push it forward, you can see it frees up a full walkway, and we can get access to the third row of the Sienna, which provides us with lots of legroom here with the seat slid most of the way up. It doesn't give them a ton of legroom, but either way, if the seat was slid further back, I would still have plenty of legroom and quite a bit of headroom as well. But notice how I'm sat very upright, almost unnaturally. Well, if I pull this little lever behind me here, I can actually recline the seat all the way back if I want to, giving me still not the greatest headroom, but nothing I'll notice. If I sit right about here, I get decent headroom as well, but it allows me to truly recline and relax in the third row of my Sienna, just as long as there's not anything in the floor back there too. Now, we also have 2 cup holders. This one's a lot bigger. This one's a little bit too small to fit a tumbler, but you could put a Starbucks cup in this one. And on this side, you actually get a USB-A port and a USB Type-C port. I do wish that they just gave each passenger their own USB-A and Type-C port. They just gave each side one of them, but honestly, this is fine. I think it's gonna be a very rare instance where someone's gonna be having to charge their phone on the left seat all the time. Let's also check out the middle seat comfort as well. If I have this all the way reclined, you can see I have plenty of room and it isn't too terrible, but I wouldn't recommend it on a super long trip. And we also have our own convenience light back here as well. Not the craziest, but we also get our own air vents back here for plenty of ventilation. I do wish that the third row window was a little bit bigger in the back of the Sienna, but again, we have plenty of light coming in from everywhere else, plus the seats are nice and light, so it doesn't really matter. But let's go to the back area of the Toyota Sienna, where we have a powered liftgate, which is very nice on the Sienna. And back here, you can see there's quite a bit of room down here. You can even see we have a first aid kit attached here. We have tons of storage here, and we even have another household power outlet. So that means you can either use it back here or the person in the third row can use it. Speaking of the third row, let me show you how insanely easy it is to pop this third row in the floor. You can see it got a little bit in the way of the camera there, but it takes all of about 3 seconds to put the seats all the way down back here. And now you have a fully flat load floor, giving you loads of cubic feet of storage to put whatever you may need back here. The one thing that's a little annoying is that there's no way to put those giant seats in the floor, unlike Stow and Go and the Chrysler Pacifica. But these seats are way bigger, they have better bolstering, and they're way more comfortable. So the trade-off of having them only being able to slide forward is not the worst thing either. So you get a ton of space in the back of your Toyota Sienna. And again, this allows you to be able to slide these seats all the way back and put them in full limousine mode if you want. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and close this. We can double click it to lock it, and we can take a look at the driving impressions of the Sienna. For one, we have a hybrid, so that means we're in EV mode right now. However, once we start getting on it, we will have a little bit of gas power as well. The CVT does a pretty good job at managing both. The acceleration is pretty quick, and it's even better when you're in sport mode. However, it's a bit of an echo chamber in here. It feels a little weird having an engine not running when the vehicle is on. Now, as far as steering feel goes, it's actually pretty good. The steering is a little light, but it has plenty of feel to the road, but you can tighten it up a little bit, of course, if you put it into sport mode. It makes it a little bit heavier once you start getting on the speed. However, at low speeds, it doesn't really do much of anything. Now, as far as the pedal feel goes, it is absolutely fantastic. Once again, we have a floor-mounted pedal, which I really appreciate. The brake feel is also incredible too. It's not too sensitive, but it's also not too sluggish either. It's the perfect balance of both. I also like the steering wheel controls while driving. They're very easy to use. I like having the back and next buttons right there and the volume controls down here. I do wish the volume would jump a little bit more when you adjust it, but it's not a big deal. The head unit's also easy to use since we have fully physical buttons pretty much everywhere, as well as down here for your climate controls. That makes a big difference. The shifter is also pretty easy to use too. Once you start getting on it a little bit here, you can see that we're driving silently, and then you can see that it kicks on right there. It's pretty quick. It's not necessarily fast, but it's just quick, and you can see we have the engine fully running right there. So that about wraps up the Toyota Sienna. It's fun to drive, actually. In my opinion, I think it's really fun to drive. And it's got plenty of power for what it needs to do. It's got all the convenience features you could ever want, all the storage you could ever want, all the seating features you could ever want. And that is why I recommend the Toyota Sienna. But should you get it over a Honda Odyssey, which has something like a full-on V6 or something a lot more fuel efficient like this Sienna, feel free to let me know. But in any case, I personally recommend the Toyota Sienna. Thank you so much for watching my review on it, and I hope you guys check out my other reviews. I'll see you on the next one, and drive safe.